Hi, everybody. I am Jenny, and welcome back. Today, I'm going to talk about the 15-minute phone consultation. We'll go over what it is, when and why you would use it, and then how to do it. I think of the 15-minute phone consultation as a screener. So it's a good way to see if a potential client might be a good fit for your practice. And it gives the potential client a chance to get initial questions answered to see if you might be what they're looking for as well. And so when would you use this? So after you've got an idea of what kind of clients you want to work with and what kind of therapy you want to offer, you'll probably want to do some sort of marketing. And I'll have a video with more on this soon, but once you kind of get some ideas out there for yourself, then you might put yourself out there and try to market yourself, and then eventually, hopefully, people will start to respond. I put my profile up on Psychology Today, then I started getting folks responding, saying something like, I'm interested to know more about working with you. Let me know what the next steps are, something like that. And so I might give a response like this. Thanks so much for reaching out. I'd be happy to offer you a free 15-minute phone consultation to go over any questions you have and talk about next steps. If you would prefer to just fill out the intake paperwork and go from there, I can email it to you. Otherwise, I'm free tomorrow between 1 and 2 if you'd like me to give you a call. Just let me know what you prefer. Thanks, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Then, if we end up scheduling the phone consultation, that might go something like this.
Hello.
Hi, is this Toby?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Toby. This is Jenny calling for our scheduled phone call. Is now still a good time for you to talk?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, what we can do today is maybe talk through some logistics and make sure our schedules will line up and things like that. And then, if that part looks like it's going to work, then I would love to know a little more about what is bringing you to look for a therapist at this time, and I can tell you a little about what to expect in working with me. And then if it feels like is something that we want to move forward with, I'll tell you what the next steps are to scheduling the first visit. How does that sound for you?
That'll work fine.
Okay, great. So I am free Wednesday mornings, either at 8:30 or 10 for scheduled sessions. To do would either of those work for you?
Yeah, I can do the 8:30 time.
Okay, perfect. And did you want to do weekly or every other week?
Probably every week for right now.
Okay, great. So, did you want to do virtual or in person?
Virtual is fine. I'm pretty far from your office, but I might want to do in person when I'm in town, if that's okay.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that. We can kind of mix and match as you want. So, did you want to use insurance for your visit? And if you do, what kind of insurance do you have?
Yeah, I have 9 lives insurance, and do you take that?
Yep, I do. I should be in network for you, but we will verify it and just try to double check so you can get a sense for what your out-of-pocket costs are going to be. And so it looks like we have a lot of things lined up here now. And if we do work together, we're going to take our time and just really more carefully get a chance for you to tell your story in a lot of detail. But for now, I'd be interested just to hear some of the highlights of what is bringing you to look for a therapist right now.
Sure. So I've had a lot of anxiety kind of all my life, but lately I've been feeling it even worse than usual. And also, I'm not getting along very well with my partner, Andy. Every time I try to talk to her, she just seems angry and runs away from me. I'm lonely. I don't know how to get this situation to change, and I just feel really stuck.
Yeah, that is really hard. And I'm really glad that you're reaching out for help. I'd be really honored to get a chance to work with you. And And just to kind of tell you a little bit about what approach I kind of use, what you can expect, I tend to use something called emotionally focused therapy. So I think in your case, we could use that to just kind of help better understand what's going on with your anxiety and maybe some of the roots of where that might be coming from. We can look at this relationship that you have with Annie, some of the cycles that you might be finding yourself in with her. And then I also incorporate mindfulness practices so we can slow things down and kind of really look together at what's really going on just to better understand it. And so then a lot of times it just can be easier to make changes when things make a little more sense. So that's kind of my style, my approach. What are your thoughts about that? What questions do you have for me?
I think it sounds good. I've been curious about mindfulness for a while, but it's just been hard. Anytime I've tried to do it on my own, I just have a hard time sitting still, unless I'm asleep.
Yeah, I get it. And that's where practicing together can be really helpful. So if you decide you want to move forward, I can go ahead and send you the intake packet to your email address that I have. And then it's kind of similar to when you go to the doctor for the first time, they send you some forms and ask you questions. So I have this intake packet, and after you fill it out, I will get a notification so I'll know when it's completed, and I will take time to really look over it carefully. And then I'll reach out to you so we can schedule our first intake appointment. And the first appointment, that intake appointment, does look a little bit different than all the rest of the visits going forward after that. It just tends to be a little bit more kind of, I've got particular questions that I will ask you to help me get to know more about you. And then we're gonna, hopefully, if we have time, I will have made a draft of a treatment plan based on what you put in your your intake forms. And then we can collaborate together and really look at what you would like for your goals to be. Um, Make sure we're on the same page about kind of how we're gonna try to work together to help you get where you want to go. And then the rest of the sessions are going to be putting into place what we talked about in the plan. So how does that all sound to you?
It sounds great. Um, yeah, please go ahead and send me the intake packet.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll be in touch when that's all ready to go. Okay? And so bye for now.
Bye.
Okay, so that was my example, and I just want to highlight a few parts that I recommend for you to keep in mind. So the first one is going over logistics, and I think it's really helpful to get that done first. So if some of those things maybe are not matching up, then you can just save yourself time. If, for example, you have an office that's 50 miles away from this potential client and they really want to do in person and that's too far away, or you don't have the same schedules to be able to find a mutually convenient time, then you just know right there that it's not going to work. Then the next thing that I would say is I would really recommend thinking through how you can keep this to just 15 minutes or less. Anything that is 16 minutes or over is technically billable hours, and you don't know this person yet, they're not a client yet, and so it's really important, I think, for maybe a lot of reasons. Another really big one is just that this is a little freebie that you're giving, and it's meant to kind of be helpful for both you and them, but you want to have boundaries and just be really clear and take care of yourself that you're not overextending. Once you start doing private practice, then all the time that you spend is time that is kind of yours to be trying to make a living one way or another. And it doesn't mean you need to go overboard in either direction. A nice balance is good, but I would just be mindful that this is just a screener. It's not necessarily a time to do a whole bunch of assessments. I've had some folks ask about, well, should we do a risk assessment, and ask them about suicidal ideation and things like that. For me, I don't. If it comes up, then that might be something, if you're under supervision, that you could say, I really want to make sure that I'm talking to my supervisor about this, because it sounds like it's a little bit more of a complicated situation. So let me talk to my supervisor and I'll get back to you. And then, just kind of do that. If you need to let them know, here's, some resources that you can reach out to in the meantime, that's fine. But keeping in mind, this is not a client. This is someone that's, asking you some questions, and you're getting to know to see if it might be a fit. And you can just gently interrupt them and say, it looks like you have so much going on and you're really ready to get started. Let me go ahead and let you know what the next steps look like. If you want to work with me, I'll send you an intake packet. Once that's filled out, I'll be in touch again and we can talk about getting you on the schedule. In my intake packet, I ask all the questions that I would really want to know to try to get initial idea if this is a good fit. And so that's fine by me. If they need some containment to help them, and a lot of times I find that folks who, on the one hand, are kind of letting it all hang out, you might think, they really want to be doing that, but actually they tend to really appreciate, I've noticed, when there can be some containment. It feels safe for them to be able to say, hey, I hear you. I know that you've got a lot. I can, hear everything that you're saying, that it just sounds like you're overwhelmed. And I want to make sure in this short, free 15-minute phone consultation, we don't want to go into all the details yet, because that's something that really, when we are scheduled, we can really go into that. And I don't want to do you the disservice of having you kind of get opened up to all of those things when we don't really have time right now, and it's not the right space for us to be really processing it. So let me get you started. I've got your email address. Let me send you the intake packet. And if you want to move forward, then we'll just go ahead and get you started as quickly as we can. So something like that. And then I've also had folks ask about informed consent, and if this is the time to talk about how confidentiality works and things like that. Again, that's not really how I do it. It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, but I just tend to really kind of cut to the chase here. It's a short amount of time, and when we meet for the first actual visit, I do go over informed consent. I give them the informed consent paperwork ahead of time that they can look at, and then we go over it verbally. And that's really the time that I take for that, not in this phone consultation. We may get used to kind of just taking everybody that comes through the door as a school counselor, and in private practice, it can look really different. So anyways, thanks for hanging in and listening to all of this. And that is the basic way that I handle the 15-minute free phone consultation. If you have other questions about this, please put them in the comments and I will respond to you that way. And if you found anything in this video useful, please share it, like it, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, remember, you have options and opportunities.